This happened about 6 years ago. I was in high school and was a junior at the time. It was the spring semester, and I remember that the junior locker commons were near the east exit of the school. I don't remember exactly what day of the week it was, but I do know that I was in my class that had study hall in it. This is where we just had some free time to do homework and stuff like that. As soon as it started, I asked my teacher if I could get my math book from my locker, and he said yes. Now, I had a long walk to get to my locker because my class was on the complete opposite side of the school, and it took about 5 minutes to get there. I had some homework that I really wanted to get done, so I walked quickly because study hall only lasted about 30 minutes. I got to my locker, and literally as soon as it opened, I heard a noise come over the school speakers. Somebody started talking, and I really couldn't hear the announcement because the audio wasn't that great. It sounded like when you're talking on the phone to someone, and they have their mouth too close to the phone, but I thought I heard the words lockdown somewhere in what they were saying. I assumed it was a drill because the voice didn't seem too panicked or anything like that, and I wasn't seeing anything weird like a suspicious person in the hall or anything. I got my book out of my locker and then took a few steps away from it to get to my classroom. But around the corner, where some of the science classrooms were, I heard a teacher yell something at a kid about being in the hallway. It seemed like a kid got in trouble for being out in the hallway, and I didn't want to get in trouble either, even though I was just going back to my class. I thought maybe I could just wait out the drill, which might last 5 or 10 minutes, and then go back to my class. At this point, there was nobody in the hallways at all, and where the locker commons were, it was like a maze of lockers everywhere, and you could hide pretty easily. I stayed where I was, and then sat on the ground. I wasn't hearing any footsteps or anything like that for a while. I went on my phone and started playing some games on it. Time went by, and when 15 minutes had passed, and I hadn't heard anything saying the drill was over, I started to get worried. Maybe it wasn't a drill. I thought about getting up and going back, but I felt like I was in too deep now. I stayed there thinking of what I should do. Then I heard the sound of a locker quietly opening a few rows over. I didn't know anybody else had been over here. I heard footsteps coming closer to me, and I figured it was a student, so I went over to meet him. Maybe it was one of my friends. When I got over and we were both inside of each other, I saw that it was a student, but I didn't recognize him. He looked to be about my age, and even though I didn't know him, I was glad that somebody else was back here with me, and it made me feel a little bit better. We said hi to each other, and the kid told me that his name was Daniel. I asked him if the lockdown was a drill or what, and he told me that it wasn't a drill. This confirmed what I was already worried about. Daniel said that he didn't know what the reason for the lockdown was exactly, but he just knew that it wasn't a drill, and so he was hiding in the locker commons. He also didn't want to go back to his class and just wanted to wait it out. We sat there and talked for several minutes about our classes and basic stuff. Then he asked me if Mr. Stevens still taught class in room 108. I told him that I really didn't know. Then Daniel suddenly got sort of agitated. He asked me how on earth I didn't know that. I had a bad feeling about this now, and I asked Daniel why he was getting so mad. He turned and looked at me with lots of anger in his face. My bad feeling was now getting worse. I just wanted to go back to my class now. I told him, "My bad, I think I'm just gonna go back to my class, man." He told me not to, but my mind was already made up. I took a few steps away, and then Daniel stood up. When he did, I turned and ran away, sprinting out of the locker commons and into the main hallway. I heard Daniel starting to run after me, and it caused me to go even faster than I already was. I made it out of the main hallways to the cafeteria, which was about the halfway point to my classroom. When I got there, I saw one of the gym teachers. He was standing outside one of the doors leading to the gyms, and I ran over to him, and when he saw me, I felt much better. I asked him if I could get inside, and he looked confused but let me in, probably because I had had him for one of my classes before. He asked me what I was doing, and I tried my best to explain the situation. We were under a lockdown for about 10 more minutes after that, until I found out that sure enough, Daniel had been caught. He wasn't even a student at our school. He had been several years prior, but had dropped out. I guess he hated Mr. Stevens because he had failed him, and Daniel was now returning to get his revenge on him. When I met him, I believed 100% that he was a student, and it now makes it even more creepy when I look back at it.